Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel Made with Love. Today is, I'm just going to make sure I say the right day. It's Friday, December 17th, 2021, and today is day 9 of my 12 days of Christmas crafting. So what I've got today is I've got these wooden cutouts that I got at the dollar store. I got a couple different snowflakes, I got these larger bells, and I have a larger snowflake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be decoupaging today. So I've got my big stack of my scrapbook paper packages. I get these from Dollarama for $4 a pack. You get 24 sheets. You get a couple of each of the patterns here. So I went through and I'm just trying to find the ones that kind of go with my color scheme and kind of the wintry stuff. I see one in here I really like for the snowflakes. I can just find it. Oh, this one here. Thought this would be a good one for the snowflakes because it kind of looks like snow falling. And then I've got some other ones. I've got to remember how many snowflakes I've got here. I've got two large ones, and I've got 3 of the small ones, and I also have 2 of the bells. Thought I had another shape, but I don't seem to have it in front of me. So this is what I'll be doing. I'll be doing a total of 2 bells and 5 of the snowflakes. Let's see, the small ones, can I fit 2 small ones on one sheet? Thought I could. I just want to see if I can. Is there any way I can angle these to get 2 to fit on the same sheet? And looks like no, it doesn't look like I can. It won't quite fit unless I piece it together, so I'm not going to worry about that. So I guess I will be just one sheet for every one. So I'm just going to go through my scrapbook here, and I'm just going to go through my scrapbook paper and find the designs I'd like, and then I'll get started. Actually, I was looking through the packs as I hadn't really noticed this. I noticed I've got a bunch of these ones. I got a bunch of the duplicate ones because, you know, 24 sheets for $4 was a really good deal. I guess you only get 24 in this one because half of them are the foil. I have some other ones here that I also got that have no foil in them. So for $4, you're getting a pack of 50, which is like, you know, it's a really good deal for scrapbook paper, because if I try to buy just a single piece from Michael's, I think I pay like nearly $1 plus, you know, like start at about $1 a sheet. So $4 for 50 in this pack, and I said $4 for the 24 with the foil pack. So I didn't realize that there were all these different ones. I found some ones that look good, but they're not quite wintry, Christmassy ones. Because I just found different ones at the dollar store, and I was just buying them. I'm trying to show you what they look like. So this one here says Elizabeth, and so it's got all these like old world travel type pictures. Really neat. The corks and the flowers. Just looks like a placemat, coaster setting stuff. You know, just in London or Paris or something. Really interesting. And I got the daisy one. So this one is all flowers. So these will work really good when I do spring and summer crafts. But I am not seeing my winter ones here, so it means they must still be on my shelf behind me. So I will be back when I've decided which of the sheets I'm going to be using. Alright, so for this project you're going to of course need your little wooden cutouts, your scrapbook paper, paintbrushes, and Mod Podge. So I've got 2 kinds of Mod Podge here. I've got the gloss and I have the matte. What I like to do is I like to use the matte for the base coat, where you put the glue on the wood and then you put the paper on top, and then I like to use the gloss for on top to give it a really nice shiny coat. I'm going to say I've never used the foil sheet with the Mod Podge, so it'll be interesting to see how it works. So the patterns I've picked here, so I chose these 2 for the bell because I really like the way they're really shiny and they kind of go together. I guess I haven't quite decided which way I want the stripes to go on the bell, but I'll figure that out when I lay it down and see which way I like it best. And then for the snowflakes, I've got, I said, this one here that looks like snow. This one here also really looks like snow. And I got this one here. It's got the shiny and it looks like snowflakes. So that is the ones I am going to use. I've got some other patterns that just set the paper down, it slid off. So I've got another one. It's pink with some candy canes. I got another blue with some swirls in it. So I'm going to start with these ones. I'm going to start with the bell because it is the easiest basic shape that I've got here. So I'm just going to move my camera down just a little more. I'm going to turn the light down a little. Okay. So I'm going to start with the matte Mod Podge. First, I'm just going to take this price tag off the back, if I can. I'm having trouble getting it to start. And sometimes they peel off, sometimes they don't. And I don't have a heat gun. Last time I was at Michael's, the heat guns were like $50. I'm not going to pay $50 for something that I'm not going to use all the time. So that in the little garbage can here. So, I will just worry about the label in a little bit. So, I'm not going to worry about it right now. So I'm just going to open my Mod Podge. And I'm just going to... I haven't done Mod Podge for quite a while. So I'm just going to grab one of these paint brushes here. So I have like an assortment of sizes because I know the snowflakes here... The little ones have smaller little bits to get the glue on, so you need the smaller ones. This one's quite a big one, so I'm just going to use my largest paintbrush here. Just want a generous coating of the Mod Podge, paying particular close attention to the edge. So I like to have like a nice buildup of the glue right along the edge. You can make your own Mod Podge. I have done that and it worked really good. It's just white school glue and water. I believe it was like 50-50. I will say I made it with the dollar store school glue. I think that's like Jot or something like that brand, and I found it didn't work as good as some of the other school glues. I also find that the dollar store school glue kind of just doesn't stick as good as other glues anyways, especially like the glue sticks. But yeah, you can make your own Mod Podge. These, where I live, these are like $10-15 a bottle for, what says, 16 ounces? Yeah, 16 ounces. They have the larger bottles, and I don't know if I could really justify buying the larger bottle because I don't do a lot of crafting with it yet. So that was something I'd look into. You know, next time I'm at Walmart, I double check the price of the Mod Podge. It was cheaper at Walmart than at Michael's, except for the small ones were cheaper at Michael's. I don't know why. Maybe they were just on sale when I was there. There, just got all this glue down. I'm just going to just go over, make sure that I got all my brush strokes. I mean, this is the undercoat, so nobody's going to see it, but I like to have all my brush strokes all going the same direction as much as possible. Okay, nice. This was the bell. I'm going to use this one first. So I'm just going to line it up and just lay it across here and just press it into place. Just making sure that it's sticking well. Just rubbing it in place. If I was doing some of the smaller ones, I do like to trace out and then kind of cut it to size. But this is such a big one, it takes up almost the whole sheet. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to get it to go down. I'm just going to flip this over it and press it down from this side to make sure it's really sticking good. I'm just going to grab my scissors here, and I'm just going to cut some of this off a little bit. There's just a little bit too much paper here, and it just doesn't want to stick around the curved edges very good. When I do the small ones, that's one of the ones I like to really just trace it out and cut it out to fit a little bit better. That way you don't have quite so much paper to work with, but just put that down. Because this is such a big project, or it takes up almost the whole piece of paper, I just decided just to use the whole sheet and just not cut first. So now I do know it does have this little, at the top of the bell does have the little hole here. I'm not worried about it for right now. I'm just gonna do the second coat. Now I did say I was gonna use the gloss, but I'm just going to stick with the matte because this one is already shiny. So I'm just gonna put this over top. Now this is when you're putting on your second coat that you want to make sure you're going, like, all the brush strokes are going the same direction. It doesn't matter if you go up and down like this, but you just want them all going the same way. You don't want to be going up and down and sideways. Of course, as you do this, you can kind of see where it starts to bubble up a little. You can kind of just press it down in place and get the air bubbles out, and then just go right over top with your paintbrush to get the fingerprints off of it. It will happen. You try not to get fingerprints, but I have a few projects where I've got my fingerprints are on it because I am having to move it while gluing. So I'm just going to continue to do this. I'm just going to do this with all the rest of them. They'll all be the same, except when I go do the other smaller ones, I will be tracing it out and kind of cutting a little bit because they have the little, like, this snowflake here's got the little cutout pieces, so I like to trace and cut those out just to make it a lot easier to put the paper on. Okay, so I'm just going to set this one aside because now I've got one coat done. I may have to come back and do a second coat because just depends on how it looks when this first coat dries, if I think it needs a second coat. Sometimes you can get away with just doing one coat and it's good. Sometimes you have to do a second or a third coat depending on the material you're working with. This is just a scrapbook paper, but I have done one a couple years ago where I used a piece of fabric. Okay. This is done, so I'm going to set this aside, and then I will be back when I get ready to do the next couple. Right, so now I'm ready to do the small snowflakes. Just spilled glue. I'm just waiting for my table to just dry a little bit more here. So for these ones, I think I like these two patterns. They really look like snowflakes. Well, this one actually has like snowflakes on it. This one looks like snowflakes falling. I don't believe that I could fit them both on the same paper. I mean, I probably could just fit them. I may have to do a little piecing, but I like the idea of having them coordinating so they're not identical. So if you hear that, that's just my husband just outside snow plowing the driveway outside. I'm not quite sure if that's coming through or not. So for this, I said I've got this one, and I really like this pattern on this corner here better than up here. So I'm going to try to concentrate the snowflake over here. Just going to line it up so I know kind of the corner I want. I want it over here. So now I'm just going to get this on here And I'm just going to trace this. Just lightly tracing. Like, I don't need to cut this fully out, but I do need to cut these middle pieces out. It makes it so much easier. But I find if I'm cutting out the middle pieces, it helps to also have the rest of it just kind of traced on, just so when I go to put it back on top of here, I know kind of where it's going. That, so I've got it traced on, so now I'm just gonna cut it out. Got my little X-Acto knife here. Just cutting out. It's most important just cutting out these middle pieces. So I'm just gonna do this for all three of these. So I get it through. It's always hard to tell if I've cut this through or not. Didn't all the way cut through right there. There. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut the 3 out for the 3 small flakes, and then I will be back. Alright, so I've got my Mod Podge already on my snowflake, and I've got my snowflake traced out, and I got the center part cut out. What I find works the easiest is with stuff like this is putting it on upside down so I can line up this, and then I just press it down. I just find it a little easier to do. Then I'll flip it over, and I will just make sure these are stuck down. I think I need a little more glue under those, just because they're not sticking down now. A little more glue. And then I will put the Mod Podge on top. And of course that will really help hold everything down, is this layer of Mod Podge on top. And again, I'm using the gloss on top and just the matte to glue it down, just because the matte is a little cheaper. Like, it's about $10 for the matte, and then the gloss is almost $15 for the bottle. Now for these ones, for the star ones, what I was doing is I was doing my strokes from the inside out, so when I get this nice shining pattern on the snowflake, it kind of looks more like a star shining. Or at least that's what I'm hoping it will look. It just also makes it a little easier to keep my brush strokes, you know, all going the same direction. This is the last one I have to do. I'm just brushing in towards the center for each of those middle pieces, just so I know they're stuck down good. So now I'm just going to finish this one. So I've got all the other ones done. And then I will be grabbing my blow dryer, and I'm just going to be blow drying them to kind of help get the glue dry a little faster, although I think some of the first ones might almost be, you know, I think they're dry to the touch now, as this is taking a little while to make all of these. I usually don't make this many at one time. Oops. This is not sticking down. Okay, that needs a little more glue underneath. Press it down with my finger, and then I'll just go back over top with the paintbrush just to get the lines in place. So the lines all even and go in the same direction and no fingerprint. Again, I gotta press this one down. It's just some of these you need to press down the way that they are shaped. I guess that's why if you're going to press it down, so they always say to use cling wrap, and I forgot to grab cling wrap. I don't think I have any left in my cupboard at the moment, so that is one of the things I'll have to buy. Cling wrap really does help with these, and you don't get the fingerprints. But okay, so I'm just going to let all these dry, and I will be back when they are dried, and I'm ready to use the sanding block to sand off all the extra paper. Alright, so welcome back. So there's the small one with the blue snowflake looking one, and I got this one here. It's the pink, and it's got candy canes. And then here's the one bell with that one gold circle pattern. And then here's another larger snowflake. So I've got these 4 finished. Got a few spots on these smaller snowflakes where I'll have to get some more of the Mod Podge just to glue it down. They kind of came up on these corners the way I was cutting out from behind. So I will fix those in a minute, but I'm just going to show you how I was finishing these. So I've got this bell here where I just Mod Podged it on, and I put a second coat of Mod Podge on top. I'm just going to move the camera angle just a little bit better so I can see. And hopefully if I can see where I'm lined up with the camera, it make it easier for everybody to see. Except I just pulled the wire. Okay. My stand wants to tip over. Just put my bottles of Mod Podge on the stand. Maybe it will prevent it from tipping over. Okay, so for these ones here, these ones are the big bell, so it's a very easy to remove the excess stuff. I mean, you can cut, but the fastest way is to get a sanding block, and all you do is find one spot, and if you just go right with the edge of the shape a couple times, and you'll see that it will start to bend over the edge. Oh, my sanding block has kind of been used a bit, so go slowly. Sand around the edge, and it will start to peel away. Just gotta as I sand, it's smoothing it out around, and then it's starting to peel it right away. When you do it enough times, it should just, yeah, it did. See, it just kind of, it flakes, the paper just flakes right off. You just got to go really slow. And it does take quite a few minutes to get that off, but as you can see, as you go around, it's just going to start to flake all that off. I think it probably took me about 5 minutes or so to get the other bell done. So that's how I was doing for the larger ones. Now these snowflakes, they're a little bit, the pattern on them is a little bit more intricate. So what I just did for, like, I'll just do this one. So I've got this one mostly, I've got them all mostly done, so just kind of save some time. But all I did was take the X-Acto knife, and I just following the shape of the wood cutout itself. And then, because the paper is stiff, it will just bend and comes off. You have to go through around a couple times. Just make sure you've actually gone through the paper and the layers of glue. And that will just kind of, it just kind of comes off. And then I just take a small, like this is just the little emery boards. And the same thing, I just kind of get in there to give it a nicer shape. So it's just a little bit cleaner edge. Just like that. This one's just a little bit too big to fit in here. I had another emery board. I just had it here. I cut it in, well, I didn't really cut it. It actually broke on me, but it made it really handy to have it just a smaller piece to work with. So you only want to go in one direction. So you don't want to do a back and forth movement. You just want to go right in the one direction. So you kind of want to just go from the top and kind of curve around the edge of the wood piece. And then, yeah, same with these ones here, these other little snowflakes, same thing. I had to actually get in here and just cut all the way around the snowflake to get the pattern. Oops. You don't want to have it pulling like that though. You don't want to rip the paper. You just want to kind of cut it out in small chunks. So then you get the nice pattern. And then like I said, on these ones, same thing. Just take the emery board and just file across to just get the nice, because these are rounded snowflake edges, so I just kind of want to get rid of that harsh jagged cuts like that, so you get these nice and rounded. That's what I did for all of those. So I'm going to finish up these three, which is it's pretty easy. I'm just going to go back to this one. This one is like the easiest one to finish. I just have to take the X-Acto knife and just follow the pattern. Like that. And I kind of cut some of the little bits of the wood off. Try not to do that. So I got all of these ones done. Now I'll just have to go and just file the rest of that. And I said, same with this one. I'm just going to come around and just finish cutting out all of this. It's really easy to do once you start. It's just kind of time consuming. So I do find it just easier on these ones. I just kind of went in and out, and I'm just kind of making like almost like triangles to cut out the small pieces. And then I can, with the emery board, go around and get the really nice rounded finished look. Because you can go around and get the curve, but I just found it was just a little tricky. On some of the curves were a little bit, just a little harder to do. Especially on these snowflakes here, because it's like around like a heart and it's so small. So it just kind of depends on what kind of a shape or pattern you're working with. Of course, if I had I've seen other people have fancier little X-Acto knives that they can really get in and do some really precise trimming. I'd like to look and try to get some of those. Right now I'm just using the standard X-Acto knife or craft knife. Okay, so now I've got it all cut out, so I'll just have to go around with the emery board and just kind of finish up. That's a little tricky. I gotta go find more emery boards. These ones, they don't really last very long on this type of project. The emery boards, I think I can get one emery board for one craft. So I'm using my sanding block. I've had this sanding block for a while, so I've been doing quite a few crafts. I've been worked with it, so it's almost out of its sandpaper stuff, so it's Makes it a little harder to do. Okay, so I got that all done. So I'm just going to use the nail file and just go around, and just anywhere where I was cutting and I kind of lifted up the paper, I'll just put some more Mod Podge on those ones. I don't know what I did with the cover for the... Okay, oh, there it is. So I am one of those people, if I do not put the lid back on my X-Acto knives, I'm going to cut myself with them. I do it all the time. I'm just going to set that over back there. Now I'm just going to finish this one. It's very easy to do. I haven't done any of this major decoupage like this for quite a few months. It's kind of tricky to see. This other sanding block, let's see if this one will work better. I just got this little sanding block from the dollar store, and first time using it, and it just, just doesn't seem to want to work as good. And one thing is you don't want to, like, it's almost tempting to peel it, but you don't want to, because if you peel it, you might rip it and peel off the from up here. I've done that on one of mine. Which one was it? I know I did that on one of these. I peeled it off. Oh, this one here, the center of the star. I was in a hurry when I was doing this, and I thought because it was a nice star and it was all kind of cut from the back and almost ready to go, I peeled it. I grabbed it and I kind of peeled it, ripped it, so I ripped a chunk off of this one point. I don't know if it's easy to see. So this chunk right here is missing it because I thought I could just pull it through, and I ripped it off. So that's why, it's tempting as it is to do that, it's best not to. If I had better sandpaper, it'd probably go a lot faster. But at the same time, you don't want to go too fast. So all you got to keep doing is just keep working right around. I'm just going to keep sanding this off. I'm going to sand off the corners of the other ones that I was just cutting out, and I will be back to show you what all 7 look like. Okay, so here's the one finished bell. Now this one is the gold, and I actually used the gloss on this one, and it really, the gold really shines really good. And then here's the other bell with the circle pattern. This one I actually used the matte. So the gold is still showing up, but it's not as bright as this one. So I wanted to see if there was a difference. When you hold it up, you can see that in between where all the white is, it's not very shiny. So I do want to test it out and check the what was it, the matte? I want to try the matte one on this one and the high gloss on this pattern, just to see if it really makes a difference, or if it's just the pattern, like this one has just got so much more gold versus this one. Okay, and then here is the other snowflake. So there's this large snowflake. As you can see, I still need to go around and finish some of the edges. Not as much on this one. But like I said, it's going to take me probably another almost half an hour to get all these little edges on the rest of them all completely done. But there's this one with this snowstorm swirly windy pattern. And then here's the other larger snowflake with this other like a snowflake type pattern. It's got the shiny silver in it. Now this one I had a few spots where I still have to go around and finish sanding around some of these corners to make them a little bit more defined. As you can see, it's kind of like a sharp edge right here. Like I said, it's still going to take me like probably half an hour to finish these up. So I just want to get my video finished, and then I'll just work with these slower. So here's this one. You know, I cut it out and I did all the sanding. This was easier to do the sanding because it was straight edges. Now I didn't punch out, like you can see at the back where all the holes would be. If I wanted to punch the holes through to hang them, I can. But I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with them yet, so I'm not going to. And then here's this one here. It also doesn't have, I've got this one spot here where I still have to sand. This one I haven't even gotten to sanding yet. But it's all just the straight edges. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so this one, I haven't started sanding this one, but it's all straight edges, so it's going to be pretty easy to sand. I've got a few of the corners where it just needs a little bit more of the glue. I don't know if that was I didn't have enough glue or if it was I put the glue down and I'd waited too long while I was covering each piece. So I've got some parts that really work good and then some parts that didn't. And then here's this one I did cut out, and let's set it down so you can see. So when I go around with the nail file and really do that, you can actually see the little heart, and all these are all rounded. I will say on this one, I did have one right here when I went a little too rough with the sandpaper, or the little nail file actually. I snapped the little wood piece, so it fell on the floor somewhere, so I'll have to find that and glue that back on. But other than that, that is what it looks like. So there is, I said I did the 3 small snowflakes. Let's see, go like this. So I did the 3 small snowflakes, and then I did 2 large snowflakes, that one and that one, and I did the 2 bells. So I've got that one and that one. All right, so that was just some quick decoupage on the wood cutouts. I haven't done decoupage like this. I think the last project I did was actually for Easter when I did the 2 crosses. Yeah, so that was decoupaging with the scrapbook paper onto the wooden cutouts from the dollar store. Just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's been subscribing to my channel and watching my videos, and I'll see everybody in my next video. Bye.